just
imagination's
batteries.
off on the wrong.
And I need a recharge.
I don't think there is a hard problem.
Fight!
It's just
Embarrassing.
baptism is a problem, which has got people convinced there's a hard problem. When he first introduced it, I said, this is just vitalism reborn. After all, there's the hard problem of whether it's alive. That doesn't prove it. It might just be a robot. I mean, a zombie, or maybe it's not even alive. Now, physicists, biologists, they don't argue about that. The line between living and not living is not an interesting theoretical thing to learn. What, are proteins alive? Are motor proteins alive, or are they just weird? Cells are alive? Don't ask. We understand that the gradually creates things which are manifestly alive. Amoebas are alive.
And we don't have to create a strict cutoff at which pinpoint life.
And there's no élan vital. There's no extra substance that you have to put in there that distinguishes the living from the unliving, as many people thought. Those were the vitalists. And I think that Chalmers and Keith here on his own, they're remaking the vitalism, and now they simply moved up a notch, and they say there's an extra sort of something, which is consciousness, which has nothing, and Chalmers is very clear about this, has nothing to do with all the things that I study.
You're
has
done.
nothing to do with questions, or have your memory adjusted, or change your beliefs, or become, get converted religiously. All of those things, those are the easy problems of consciousness. The only problem that's left over is whether you're conscious. And in that sense, it's exactly like vitalism. And when I put it to David that that's what it is, he said, no, it isn't. The problems are entirely different. And
well, we don't have David here, but we do have Keith. So Keith, what do you make of the way that Dan has laid out the hard problem of consciousness there, and for you?
Well, I don't think vitalism is a problem of any sort. Because, as far as I can see, to describe a thing as living is to talk about its reproductive capacities and its behavioural capacities, and that's okay. And I think you can have a very shady boundary bacterium alive. But consciousness is not like that. It's not a decision about whether to call something conscious or not. It's a real fact. You want to know, do ants have feelings? And a feeling is something that I know I have. I started life as a musician, so to me music is very important. And music is consciously perceived. If it wasn't consciously perceived, I wouldn't be interested in it, right? So whatever is going on in my brain to produce me enjoying music, that doesn't explain my enjoyment of the music. That's an inner experience that nobody else can share. And how I think of Wagner's Ring is totally different from the way that some other people think of it. But it's the same experience. The same things are happening. The same wavelengths are going along, and the same neurons are firing, perhaps.
And is it the case that, in your view, the fact that you could look at a person's brain when they're listening to Wagner and say, oh, I can see neurons firing and brain chemistry going on, that cannot be equated to the same thing as the experience of hearing music?
Exactly. It can't. It's not an identity. There's no identity between finding blood flow in the brain or electrical activity in the brain and whatever it is that they're enjoying when they enjoy a piece
in
of
that
music.
sense, it's a qualitative difference.
It's a qualitative difference, and also one which is, it's not like vitalism, because it's not, in vitalism there's nothing extra which makes something alive. You describe it by describing the biological facts. But I do think that with consciousness there is something extra, and there could be a zombie, and there could be a person just like me, but wasn't conscious. And I think it probably could be. Somebody could make one. But you get the same problem with a robot. If you made a robot which you couldn't tell the difference, in the famous Turing test, you couldn't tell the difference between it and a human being.
10 kills remaining.
Which you couldn't resolve. Is it actually having experiences? And you wouldn't be able to answer that question.
And this is a live discussion, obviously, with the advent of artificial intelligence and so on. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, the fact that you think you cannot equate a brain state with the actual experience, seeing the colour red or whatever it might be, means that for you, this consciousness is something qualitatively different from the material.
Well, it's not only that, you see. It's not just a hypothetical thing. It's that what makes my life worthwhile is my conscious experiences and how I cope with them. And my brain, I go along with whatever people tell me about my brain, and that might be very important, but it's not what I'm primarily concerned with. I'd be fascinated to know what happens to my brain.
5 kills remaining.
What I'm primarily concerned with is how meaningful it is to me and the difference it makes to my life. And that is...
Well, but then you should be interested in asking the hard question. So the music is very meaningful. So now there's lots of things going on in your brain which are in fact embodying that very meaningfulness, that very responsiveness, the fact that it makes a difference. And here, if we look at
1 kill remaining.
cases of brain damage, we see people who have locked-in syndrome or in comatose or vegetative state, and there's all sorts of different varieties.
Death.